It's the Book and His Boss. I'm Pat Caputo, Oakland Press sports columnist, and this is Jeff Kuehn, my boss. He's the sports editor here at the Oakland Press. So there's something you don't like about the paper, call him, not me, because he's my boss. He's the one who's in charge. But anyway, no, we're just kidding around. Jeff does a great job. We enjoy bringing our news to you every day here in Oakland County, and obviously it's a big time of the sports season. The Red Wings, as we tape this, it's 2-2 now. As far as I'm concerned, Jeff, it should be over, basically. They had a 2-0 lead in Game 3 and then a 3-2 lead in Game 3 and let it get away. And Dominic Hasek, who we've talked about a lot here on the Book and His Boss, played well the first 2 games and then got a little shaky in Game 3 and then Game 4. You're talking about what was essentially a collapse when he gave up that goal to Greg DeVries. That just can't happen.
I'm telling you what, though, it's the reason why there's nothing like the Stanley Cup playoffs, because you're exactly right. 4 minutes to go in Game 3. Wings are ahead by 2 goals. Well, 1 goal at that time. One shot changes the whole series. One shot. I mean, it's like 11 seconds later they're losing. Then they last night turn around. But absolutely, Dominic Hasek said this is the worst 60 minutes of his career. And what do you do now? But I think you kind of have to go with Chris Osgood, who shut him down. Give him a shot and see what happens. But hats off to Nashville. They are playing with so much passion and emotion. I thought they outplayed the Wings last night.
Well, sure, but I don't want to tip the old tip the hat to them when the Red Wings. It really is them allowing them to do it. The Red Wings are clearly a better team than Nashville, in my opinion. Clearly, there's no excuse for them in this situation. I know everybody's good and everybody can knock out anybody on a given day, but the Red Wings have superior depth. They have superior stars at the top of their lineup. And there really is no excuse for them to lose. Now, having said that, things could turn around quickly. The last time they played in the playoffs, the same thing happened, and the Red Wings won in 6.
Right.
So we'll have to see how that plays out next week. But
they got to step it up in Game 5.
They're given their playoff losses early. You always get a bad feeling when this is happening. And let's see the Red Wings.
People who panic in a hurry like me, right?
Well, you're not panicking. I don't think either one of us are panicking. I think we're just looking at it realistically. This is too good a team to be doing this against a team that it's clearly better than.
Right.
Nothing against Nashville. And, yeah, you're right. You got to give them credit, but maybe part of it's the Red Wings not playing up to it. Both teams are playing up to their capability. The Red Wings win this thing hands down. Coming up, we got or not actually coming up, the Tigers. I want to go to the Tigers first. I've won a few games now. I mean, all of a sudden they don't look so bad. Miguel Cabrera's gotten off the schneid. You're seeing Magli Ordonez starting to emerge like he did. They got a kid that came up, Armando Galarraga. He pitched well for him. What's your view on this? I mean, if we did this 3 days ago, we'd all be going, oh, this is bad. Now all of a sudden it doesn't look too bad. They're tied with Cleveland.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. That's what helps is the 2 teams that are supposed to be the best in the Central are tied at 5 and 10. So as bad as it was at the beginning, Kansas City's not going to be around. Chicago got off to a good start. I think Chicago is better than people thought they were going to be.
Yeah, they're better because they were beating the Tigers.
Right,
right. The Tigers played well. Maybe Chicago wouldn't have that record.
That's true. But anyway, the rough start's over. Looks like the bats are coming around. I like what I saw in the pitching last night. Hope that kid's for real. We'll see. It's now the season starts. Let's start over and take that first week as a mulligan and go from.
Well, I feel good about the Tigers playing a little bit better. Look, I grew up around here. Mm-hmm. You grew up around here. Our whole staff, Paula grew up around here, Paula Pash, Keith Dunlap, I was just talking to him. He grew up around here, Dave Burkett, a lot in Oakland County.
Man behind the camera.
Man behind the camera, Jim Martinez. Where's Jim from?
Jim's from Clarkston.
Clarkston, yeah. So, I mean, these are all local people. So while we're not homers here rooting for the Tigers per se, I think we all feel good that they've won some games because I think people were genuinely let down by their start. With the things that are going on in the city of Detroit, some of these economic things, which will turn around. But, people needed the Tigers. They always mention the 67, 68 thing, how in 84 it's a similar situation in 83 to what it is around here, kind of how we felt about ourselves. And the 84 Tigers gave us a lift. And these guys didn't to start out. Maybe now they will.
Right.
I mean, there's a local, there was a letdown. So maybe they'll get it together. But anyway, they need to pitch.
Pitching's everything in baseball,
Yes,
right?
it is. Cabrera can hit a bunch of home runs. He's not going to do it every night. Now, the Pistons start the playoffs on Sunday. They play Philadelphia. I think this is a relatively difficult matchup for them. Philadelphia, a much better team coming out of the season than they were at the beginning of the season. Acudala's played pretty well for them. Andre Miller's a very underrated player. Willie Green from Detroit is a pretty good player. I don't know how dangerous it is, but usually the Pistons are playing a team in the first round. It's like the Bucks or somebody. There's really no fear of them losing. Is there a little bit more this time?
I'm not worried. Let's put that. But they did go 2-2 against Philadelphia during the season. And you're right. The NBA, they tell me, is all about matchups. And Pistons have some issues, as you pointed out, with this matchup. But again, I mean, it's the same old, if they both play at their best, the Pistons' depth this year, they can roll 10 guys out on the floor. And I hope Flip isn't afraid to do that this time around. If he does that, if they both play their best, this can't go beyond 5, can it?
No, and there's not the odd puck bounce like there is in hockey. The NBA is usually a little more consistent with that. But Dallas did lose a series, that they in the opening
That was
round.
An eye-opener, wasn't it?
Yeah,
last
so,
year?
and it's happened before. Seattle lost to Denver one year. So it does happen. It's rare. I know this. The one thing I like about this team, they seem to have a little bit more of a chip on their shoulders. Seem to be hungry, more urgent.
I think I saw an ESPN survey that only 4 states in the country said the Pistons were going to get out of the East. So, yeah, everybody's rooting against them, and we found out that that's when they're at their best.
Yeah, and a lot will be on Flip Saunders. I mean, if they don't perform up to snuff, it'll be on his shoulders because those players, the core, have won championships before in 2004, and Flip Saunders hasn't. So he's kind of the new one in there, and he'll be the scapegoat if things don't go too well for the Pistons. But I think they will too. What a great organization. I think it's the best organization in professional sports. I honestly do. Very much looking forward to the start of the playoffs and hope you check out our coverage. We got a great Pistons writer in Dana Garuder. I'll be flipping out some columns, and we're going to have a good old time. Paula Pash will be helping out with our coverage too. So look forward to that. But anyway, enjoyed it. There's the American Idol. You can't see him. He didn't get knocked off the show yesterday. He would win the thing. That's Jim Martinez, our cameraman. He's Jeff Kuehn. He's the sports editor. He does a terrific job. I'm Pat Caputo. I do kind of a so-so job.
Come on.
Anyway, we'll see you next week here on The Book and His Boss.